In May, our world was changed. We went from 3 paychecks a month to still 3 paychecks a month, but at different times, and it completely messed us up. And we had to change our budget and change how we schedule things and how we sit down and talk about our money, and it just really messed everything up. But we are 3/4, 3.5 months into this new budget change, so it's time for an update. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Allison with Baby Stepping to Freedom, where I talk to you all about personal finance, my finance, your finances, and give you tips and tricks to help you reach financial freedom. So just a little throwback for you. Back in May, we went from having paychecks at the beginning of the month, the 1st and the 15th. So my paycheck was the beginning of the month. Aaron's paycheck was the 1st and the 15th. To then my paycheck still being at the beginning of the month and his being every other week, which meant sometimes we had like 3 paychecks in a row, and other times it just was like forever between a paycheck, and it really messed up how we scheduled things and how we budgeted each paycheck and just our entire system. We had only ever been paid the one way, and then it changed, and we were like, how are we going to do our budget? So if you haven't seen my video from a couple months ago where I talked about this new change and essentially where I said we had no clue what we were going to do. Well, we did have a clue what we were going to do, but we were still in the very, very early stages of trying to figure it out. So go check out that video before you watch this one, because now I'm going to update you on what we've been doing with our budget for the past couple months. So before, we would budget twice a month. We would budget the beginning of the month when I had my one paycheck and Aaron had his beginning of the month paycheck. And that would be the majority of our bills and everything came out of that paycheck. And then during the second paycheck, the 15th of the month, halfway through, we did the last few bills and kind of replenished where we needed from the first month. So that 15th paycheck was kind of like our safety net, where if we forgot something, we ran out of money, we were able to supplement with that 15th paycheck. What we decided to do, or at least try, was to just budget once a month using all of our paychecks for the month. So it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to go from 2 budgets per month to 1 budget a month, but it was so overwhelming because we didn't have that safety net anymore. We weren't able to kind of hold back on some things so we can do it later. It's like everything had to be accounted for at the beginning of the month, and that was rough. Not only that, but in order to do a monthly budget, we had to get 1 month ahead. We had to essentially save 1 month worth of paychecks in order to budget those for the next month. So, for example, Aaron had 2 paychecks in July. We saved those. They just immediately deposited into a savings account. And then on the 1st of August, when I got paid, those 2 paychecks were transferred into our checking account, and it was essentially like he got 1 payday for July, if that makes sense. So he had his 1 paycheck transfer, which was technically 2 paychecks, and my paycheck. So it was all there, and then we budgeted for the whole month of August with that money. So it was difficult to get to that point because essentially, in order to give ourselves 1 payday at the beginning of the month, we had to save up that month worth of paychecks. So we did that in May. That was kind of the first month of this change where Aaron had like some like weird paychecks because like his company was transitioning to a new company, and so he kind of got like half paychecks. Anyways, we just kind of did as little as possible in May, so we were able to save up as much as we could. Then June hit, and that was great, except his paychecks still weren't quite right. I guess his first June paycheck was still like a partial paycheck just because of the timing of the transition from old company to new company. And so it wasn't until July that we had like real paychecks. Like we were able to figure out exactly what a month was going to look like. So it took us a couple months to kind of figure out how this was going to work for us. So in July and now in August, we were able to have like 2 solid months of like figuring this out. So the pros of this new budgeting change. For one, we don't even realize when it's payday, which is like really weird. You know, people always say like, oh, I want to be in the financial position where I don't even realize that I got paid. And I don't know if it's the financial position that makes you realize you don't get paid. Well, I guess kind of, but it's mostly how you're budgeting, because how we budgeted before, we got paid and we did a budget. So we never didn't know that it was payday because we budgeted every time we got a paycheck. But now it's just Erin's paycheck goes into a savings account and we don't even think about it until the beginning of the month. Or that's the hope, is that we don't think about it. I'll get to that in the cons. But we often forget when it's payday, which is kind of a cool feeling. Another benefit is that we just get it all out of the way at once. Like we say, you know, this is what we need to do in the month. We budget once, boom, we're done. We don't have to budget again. So it's quick and out of the way versus doing multiple budgets, aka 2, in 1 month. It's also kind of nice to make the entire month's transfer to savings. So right now, you know, we're doing baby step 3. And so our extra money is going into savings. And we do our one budget at the beginning of the month, and that goes straight to savings, and it's like, that's it. That's like our transfer. So they're bigger transfers because it's a whole month versus two halves of the month like we had previously done when we were paying off debt. So we usually had 2 payments to debt each month minimum because we budgeted twice. But now it's just like one big transfer straight to savings. Also, another benefit is that having his paychecks kind of go into savings and wait until the next month means that we have a little bit of a backup reserve already, which is going to bring me to the cons. So, you know, his money for the month is sitting in a savings account and we're not using it because we're using the previous month's money. So if something really bad came up, we could use that money. The problem is, and my first con is, we get tempted with money. Like if it doesn't have a purpose, we spend it. And although that money has a purpose, it is really tempting to be like, oh, hey, well, we want to go out to dinner even though it's not budgeted for. So let's just take it from next month's because it's essentially the same thing, which it is. But that's a really bad habit to get into because it's just like this snowball effect of like, well, I'll just take a little bit here and I'll take a little bit there. And then before you know it, you used half of a paycheck on just stuff that you didn't budget for. And that is something that we caught ourselves doing. In June, we did that a couple times and we had a very serious conversation that we couldn't keep doing that. So during July, our goal was to not use any of the July paychecks for August, I think. Still messes me up. Anyways, last month was the first month that we didn't use any of the paycheck, and that felt good. But that money sitting there is just so tempting. Also, another con is just like the delayed gratification of having to wait until the next month to make another deposit. You know, like we used to have like multiple deposits throughout the month or multiple payments to debt throughout the month. And it was nice that like kept us going. And now, you know, we do have the big one. It's big, out of the way. We're done with it. But then we have to wait a whole month before we see our savings move at all. Or we need to do stuff throughout the month to like get a little bit more movement in our savings because pretty much the bulk of it has already been done. And really the last con is that if we do miss something or we run out of money in our budget, we have to wait longer. Previously, it was like 2 weeks. All we needed was 2 weeks, and we were able to put it back, whatever it was, back in the budget. Now, it's like we have to wait 4 weeks or however long to put something in the next budget if we run out of money or forget something. We do have the safety net, like I mentioned before, you know, of his month's paychecks that are just sitting, but like I said, we're trying really hard to not spend those because it is hard when you are a spender. So overall, we feel like the change in budgeting has been positive. I think that we have liked it more than we have not liked it. There's good and bad things about both, but we are feeling very positive about this change. And I think the plan is to continue with this indefinitely because it's working. July was our first month of really like buckling down and saving since April. So May and June were kind of rough savings months for us, but July we got back on track and we saved $4,007 towards our emergency fund in July, which was 47% of our income, and we were very happy about that. Although in August, we are shooting for 50% because 47 is just too close to 50%. A lot of that money from July was side hustle income because I work at a summer camp when I'm off work in the summer, and that money came in and I was able to put all of it towards our savings. So that definitely helped. Summer savings and debt payoffs for us have always been higher because I have a side hustle in the summer and also have my income in the summer. So it is definitely a benefit. So far in August, we made a savings payment of $2,085, and that was like our big savings from our paychecks. Then I have a couple more checks coming in from camp where that will just go straight to savings. So hopefully we will hit the 50% of our income saved in August. I haven't done a budget with me video for a while, and that's just because our budget spreadsheet is a mess. We're still using the same one, and that budget spreadsheet is meant for multiple paychecks throughout the month, and so it's just kind of like thrown together and like is working right now, but I'm really trying to figure out how to fine tune the spreadsheet to make it work better for us and to be a little prettier so I can post again on YouTube what our budget actually looks like. So right now we're just figuring out like how to make this work and what we need out of a budget spreadsheet, and then eventually I'll change it up and then I'll start posting it again on YouTube. But until then, I'll probably just do these videos and talk about what we've done each month. So right now we're 63% of the way to funding our emergency fund of $30,000. So that's like really close to $20,000 is where we're at right now. Not quite there, but close enough, 63%. And we're hoping to be done by October. We do have some extra side hustle money coming in, as well as commissions and other things that we're anticipating just putting all straight to our savings and hoping to be done by October so we can just cross baby step 3 off the list and move forward on paying off the mortgage. Dun, dun, dun. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you scroll down, subscribe to my channels. If you turn on the little bell notification, that will alert you when I have a new video posted. While you're down there, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think about this video, about our monthly savings for the last few months and how we're figuring all of this out. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.